I'm Russell Beard in northern Kenya, where local hero Martin Wheeler is taking elephant conservation to new heights.
I'm Yasmin Qureshi in Monterey Bay, California, where researchers have discovered that sea otters may play a key role in revitalizing our oceans.
There are over 40 national parks in Kenya alone, and despite being the cornerstones of conservation, the model of fencing wild animals away from people excludes local farming communities and can disrupt elephant migration routes. Today, there's a new breed of community-owned conservancies without fences that are proving that with the right management, people and wildlife can live side by side. But as the price of ivory goes up, elephant populations outside national parks are facing an increasing threat from poachers prepared to take lethal steps to supply that demand.
I'm Russell Beard in northern Kenya to meet a community rising to the challenge of elephant conservation with the help of one local hero, Martin Wheeler. Martin, thanks for having us.
After losing around 1/7 of their local elephant population to poaching in the last year alone, Martin, a keen amateur conservationist, was desperate to do something to help.
This is my hangar, and this is the machine.
Martin was saying that his grandfather came here with an oxen cart in 1911 from South Africa, was it?
Coming from Ireland originally.
From Ireland.
And then to South Africa.
I wonder what your grandfather would make of this.
Clear.
Martin ordered his paramotor from Germany, but there are no flight schools in Lekurruki. He told us he taught himself from videos on the internet, and is by no means a pro.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Oh, woo.
Flying over 60,000 acres of land, with this eagle-eye view, Martin can survey vast areas that would take months to patrol on foot. And thanks to the thermals, he can stay airborne for hours. Lekurruki is not just private land, it's a community conservancy run and managed by the people who live and farm it. The deeds are now in the hands of the 3,000 Maasai who call Lekurruki home. There are virtually no fences from here to the Red Sea, some 1,400 miles away. Meaning wildlife can freely roam, and in the rainy season, this area sees some of the largest herds of elephants outside the national parks.
Not the most graceful landing. It climbs amazingly well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I counted about 186 elephant.
Oh, what?
A couple of years ago was 7,500 or so. And then last year, 1,000 of those 7,000 were poached. So we basically had 6 years left. But that's when the patrolling really started, and the need to make a difference, to try and provide aerial support for our security on the ground. And help the elephant.
That's where extreme sports and environmentalism
come together.
A
little bit of practice on the landings needed.
It sounds like we should be trying to get a campaign together to get you some spandex, some sort.
Martin didn't set out to become a superhero. He's had a lifelong love of birds and now runs a raptor rehabilitation sanctuary for injured and endangered species.
You've been handling him since he's been very young.
Yeah, but on the glove only a week now.
Really?
Yeah.
And you would fly in much the same way as these birds? I mean, you talked about these thermals.
Yeah, and the only difference is they can see the thermal, whereas we can't. You do it by feeling or by following. And so...
By following what? By
bird.
following the bird?
Yeah,
really?
Definitely. You know, you can see swallows out there in a thermal. I hope to be able to fly with them someday.
But Martin's not a full-time conservationist. He and his partner Antonia manage an eco-lodge that taps tourist dollar for the community.
Every guest that comes to stay, they pay a conservation fee. That conservation fee gets paid directly to the trust, the community trust, and the money's split 60%, 40%, so 60% goes to community and 40% goes to conservation.
Wow. I mean, Martin, this is really your currency here, isn't it? Look at this. It's some view.
All of the work that Martin does in the air would mean nothing without boots on the ground.
So we've come down to meet the rangers. Now this is the headquarters of the Lekurruki Conservation Zone. So that's 60,000 acres. There's only 22 of them, so they've got the work cut out.
Stand easy. We always do the small drills. That is actually to keep people on a fitness. But because they are all 100%, they come from the community. Don't forget, they are also the ownership. They are also the shareholders of this group ranch.
And they do more than just protect elephants. Sierra One and his rangers get involved in everything from education to land management.
Isn't looking very smart, but I want to tell you one thing, guys. What we do, our area here is actually bare the land, meaning that some years back, before the start of the conservation, most of these areas were overgrazed. What we are doing as a conservancy, to make sure we're bringing back our land to normal how it was. These are grasses, seeds. We planted them to make sure that we are no more bare land within this conservancy. Good. Now I want to show you. So looking this land here, we also put people to cut down the acacia refacients, plant the grass, look at the same land now starting, look how it is.
This is environmental restoration.
Yeah. When it has grasses, it can hold water. And by holding water, then that means good grass will come up. But when it's completely bare, the water runs very fast. That even if it rains how much rain, then the water cannot stop going towards 100 miles. But the other one, you hold water, whether it's little or small, then grasses can come up.
How much money are these tusks worth? How much are they getting for them?
Do you know, the heaviest elephant tusk that my team had came across and recovered was one weighing 80 kilograms. Right. And a kilogram can go at 15,000 Kenyan shillings. So if one piece of tusk, you say 80 kilos multiplied by 15,000 is nearly 1.1 million a tusk, 1 million a tusk. So two tusks goes to 2 million in shillings. So if somebody kills 18 elephants or 30 elephants here, even if you're getting 1 million per elephant, kill them 30, you have 30 million Kenyan shillings.
So we've got the Sierra 2 unit in the back, looking pretty awesome. And Martin's driving at the moment. We've arrived at the airstrip. We're going to go off and patrol that way. He's going to take off, and I guess it's all about the contact between the two. So I think, who's our guy here? Where's James?
Yeah.
You're going to help us out?
Yeah.
You're going to keep us in line?
Yeah.
And you're going to keep in touch with
Martin? With Martin, yeah.
With Martin, by radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, radio communication. And when maybe Martin found something that we needed to go in, they told us, we communicated with the radio, and they will tell us that us will go on.
Okay.
And we'll carry on.
Okay.
Together with him.
And what do you think about this guy flying around?
Crazy man.
These guys are Laikipia Maasai warriors trained by Kenya's elite wildlife protection service. and are facing increasingly well-organised and well-armed poachers. They've already lost one of their unit in a lethal firefight when a gang of poachers invaded their camp to retrieve confiscated ivory. Ideally, they'd like a helicopter. But for the time being, they'll take all the help they can get.
It looks, yeah, you're feeling a bit nervous because, I mean, he's got a fair amount of runway, but either side are these big acacia trees, and the thorns are about that big, and you know that, forget what it does to the parachute. You come into that about 30 miles an hour, that's going to hurt.
Msendege. It's like ndege. Naenda kama ndege. Yeah.
Birdman! Nzendege!
Yeah.
Crazy. Amazing walking through the landscape, you're seeing this evidence of the elephants really tearing into a lot of these acacia trees, and it looks quite destructive, but of course this is all part of the sort of natural management of this ecosystem. The elephants are really the ones keeping it open, so they're playing a vital role in keeping this place really balanced and habitable for a whole wide range of species. Look at the erosion here.
So the erosion is taking place everywhere. It's just dry soil.
Yeah.
So we are planting grass. Almost half of the conservation is planting grass.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you hope that this, in a short while, this will completely transform.
Actually, when we get enough rain, actually when the grass will grow, there will be no problem of grass for the wildlife and livestock.
I mean, are you all from these local communities?
All of us, we are come from the same community. Our community are living up of the hills, but this place is our land also. Some community are living there, some are living here, so all of them are living in different places. Yeah. Before we started the conservation, there's a lot of trouble here, a lot of problem, people poaching, people stealing, people doing these bad things. So after we started, everything is now going and finished. You're saying that there's a group of ellis just between this laga here, Tasia laga, and the road goes to Isiolo, so there's a group of ellis here.
Oh, that's nice. There's many here, both sides.
Yeah, both sides.
We're surrounded.
We're surrounded. We go slowly by slowly, slowly by slowly.
So apparently there's a group of 100 elephants just over there. We can barely see them. You can imagine how difficult it would be to see a group of poachers there in this kind of thick bush. And you just get the sense of how important it is to have Martin's help in the sky.
The ultimate sign that the conservation approach is working is that the elephants have chosen to come here. And they come here in the thousands. But the fight is far from over. At the beginning of the 20th century, there were an estimated 10 million elephants in Africa. Now there are around 500,000 in the wild, and the numbers are still dropping, with some 20,000 killed last year alone. Despite a worldwide ban on ivory trading, experts estimate that poaching could wipe out a fifth of Africa's elephants over the next decade. The Lekurruki model is proof that with the right management, communities can conserve wildlife and prosper.
I have 3 kids, and from the benefit of this conservation, they are able to access education. It's my land. So whether anyone else can go, I will be left here because it's my home. So in your home, in your house, you can never leave your house and abandon it and do it, because it's my house. It's my house. Whatever that I'm doing at my house. Thank you. And man, we need to.
All right.
Otherwise, wish you the best.
He looks the part of the superhero, doesn't he? And certainly the local hero. But I think it's clear after meeting the community here and the rangers that he's only one part, he's only one player in the wider conservation strategy here. So he's definitely a local hero, but one among many.
One of the biggest problems facing our oceans is the loss of seagrass meadows, which account for roughly 15% of the ocean's total carbon storage. Per hectare, they hold twice as much carbon dioxide as rainforests, and they're also crucial marine habitats for many endangered ocean species. But here on Elkhorn Slough in Central California, the tide could be turning for seagrass, thanks to some unexpected allies. How are you? Nice to meet you. This 900-hectare estuary is where rivers throughout this region meet the Pacific Ocean. This is the agricultural powerhouse of the United States, and fertilizer and pesticide runoff threaten the balance of this delicate ecosystem. So having farms so close to the ocean line, what impact does that have on the water quality?
Well, anywhere where you get coastal environments close to urban centers, coastal environments close to agricultural centers, you get problems like this. If you get too much nutrients into a system, then you get too much macroalgae, and that essentially just kills the seagrass.
Seagrass provides a vital nursery for juvenile fish and invertebrates, but it's also extremely effective at locking away carbon in its root system, where it can be stored for thousands of years. Algal blooms can starve seagrass of light. When the beds die, they not only lose their capacity to absorb CO2, but the carbon already stored is released into the atmosphere.
Macroalgae, it grows, attaches to rocks, it eventually dies. It starts decomposing. It feeds bacteria. And so all these things that are decomposing this excessive amount of algae, they need oxygen as well. So that ends up being a big problem, not only for the seagrasses who are competing for space and light with this algae, but also biodiversity.
Over half of the world's seagrass meadows are in decline. But here in Elkhorn Slough, they're making a surprising comeback, thanks to some curious little critters with big appetites.
Look through here.
Oh, wow. At one time, there were thousands of sea otters in California, but in the 1800s, they were hunted to near extinction for their soft fur pelts. But since then, thanks to multiple conservation efforts, they've been making a tentative recovery.
They only really started coming back, within the last 10 years or so, for really the numbers increasing.
There are now more than 100 in this estuary, consuming a staggering 100,000 crabs per year. This voracious appetite has helped restore the balance of this ecosystem by triggering a chain reaction known as a trophic cascade. Sea otters eat crabs. Lower crab numbers allow smaller invertebrates like sea slugs to thrive, and these creatures are crucial for the health of seagrass. By eating algal buildup on the leaves, they allow sunlight to reach the plants.
You ready?
All set.
Yeah? Let's do it?
Let's do it.
Ah, I'm a little scared. It's cold, no?
It's cold, yes.
So, should I just jump in?
Jump in.
Ah! Whoops, it's really shallow. See anything?
So what we're looking for are kind of like things that look like slugs.
Okay.
And these slugs are really important to the seagrass itself. Oh wait, here's some. See these guys here?
Oh wow.
These guys here are what's called the sea hare. What they do is they go up and down the seagrass all day long and keep it clean.
It's amazing that they are what's protecting the seagrass.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. You know, without them eating the algae that's growing on the seagrass would have a hard time persisting.
Because sea otters are so crucial to the ecosystem, scientists are carefully monitoring their slow and steady comeback. They capture them and tag them with radio devices.
So is this a good spot over here?
Yeah, this will work really well.
Is she close?
She's probably fairly close.
What's the purpose of tracking the otters?
We go out 7 days a week, is to go out and find individuals, see where they are, what they're doing. The other part of it is just so we can understand the distribution of otters in this area. What are they eating and how are they doing health-wise? There's one right there, that's 3496.
So that beeping is an otter?
That beeping is from the radio transmitter that we surgically implanted in her, so that it helps us locate her. Why don't you take a look? You can see her right in there.
I see her diving.
Along the west coast of North America, researchers have noticed that the return of top-level predators is having an impact on restoring all kinds of underwater life and the entire ocean system.
What the sea otters do, it turns the tables against the macroalgae. Through these effects of sea otters eating crabs, essentially give the seagrass an advantage again.
So if we introduce top predators like sea otters to ecosystems around the world, will it have a knock-on effect?
Potentially, and the prediction is yes. So if you restore food webs, which means a lot of times bringing back a top predator to a system that we've wiped out, they have a great potential for restoring the health of that system.
Seriously, man, that was ridiculous. What have you created?